So do you have the report read?
All right, 7 o'clock, call the meeting to order. Open meeting act, posted on the back wall, meeting code of conduct, roll call's been taken. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're on to consent agenda. Brandon sent the updated list, the claims.
Or saying there's one more, I can't remember if it got on there or not, was the blue cell for the mass casualty training that we did for 7,000.
Make a motion to approve and consent agenda.
Second.
A motion to approve the consent agenda was made by Sheminti and seconded by Lawton. Lawton,
Yes.
Sheminti,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Discussion, Lindsay?
How y'all doing? A couple questions. I noticed it's driving around town that, and I'm not sure if it's our jurisdiction or not, but grading the Fifth Street, that's the gravel going north from the water tower to Hill Ride, horrible potholes. I don't know if it's our responsibility or the county. In even worse shape, I don't know if any of you have driven it, but on the county road that would be from Hill Rise going east towards I-10 Park. Again, I don't know if it's our jurisdiction or the county, that's really bad. Just mention that. A little observation, I've had many people call me, they're afraid of calling the city, I don't know why, but they call me, thinking I know a little bit about nothing. But anyways, what's the current code for building buildings, accessory buildings? Gentleman built one up on the hill there, right on Anderson Way, that on Vine Street, it was back up to Vine Street, but the gentleman lives on Anderson Way, like 25 feet tall. Up there, we had 22-foot maximum with 12-foot sidewalls. It's definitely out of compliance. As far as I know, what the ordinance was, I don't know if it's changed or what. Many people brought to my attention and thought it was a little bit out of spot. I got a friend of mine that wants to build a building up there, and I've been trying to put something together, and I think he'd rather have one go high too. But I just want to know what the standard is, and so we can all make sure we follow that to the rule. That's my question about that. I don't think I have anything else.
We'll go with you after. That, just so you know, county or Fifth Street's ours, the county road is the county, or that's Marble County. Andrews,
Now, even though we put the new road in, is that their responsibility to maintain that as well, or?
that's ours.
Oh, it is.
Ours stops right there.
Okay.
It goes to,
Well, good. But make sure we put it.
between the railroad tracks.
Thanks.
Moving on. Staff report on ordinance 816. Travel.
All right, so you guys remember this from last month. This is our second reading of the proposed new zoning code. The things that you discussed during the last meeting were changed. As you note in the staff report, there's a few highlighted portions that we can still work through, and I've got a few comments about that. I do want to note that if you guys see any changes that need to be made in the proposed map, please let me know either now or as soon as possible. I also want to note that I didn't get any subsequent comment from new ETJ folks. You guys asked me to send a second letter. Got nothing from that. I still need to go through and fix the definitions. I didn't have very much time between this meeting and the last one due to unexpected circumstances, but my plan is that in the next week and a half, in addition to whatever decisions you guys make today, is to get a third draft ready to go after Thanksgiving, so you guys have as much time as you need to provide me with any comments. And the definitions should be a lot smoother by then. That's my goal. Now the highlighted portion stuff, just so you guys kind of know, the question about prohibiting repairs of non-conforming structures. I added a highlighted note about should we do something related to like no more than 60%. That is a typical standard that you see in a lot of zoning, is that if something is, let's say, destroyed and someone wants to build it back, or if it's non-conforming and they want to change 60% or more of it, you typically see that in a zoning document. The intent there is to try to prevent that non-conforming use. Right now, our zoning does not contain anything like that. So if you have a non-conforming structure, you can basically, as long as what you're adding to that non-conforming structure complies with the zoning, you can go through with it. Honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping that standard, but I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that if you wanted to, you could do something with the 60% change to try and prohibit non-conforming use from continuing. Again, the zoning currently doesn't have anything like that, and I'm not seeing that a problem. The abandoned conditional use timeframe, that one's simple. It's a question of whether you guys want to give someone 6 months of abandoning their conditional use or 1 year. Really simple. My suggestion to you on the exemption of projections question is maybe we can skip that one. I'll keep looking at it a little bit and see if I can simplify it for the next third reading. The wireless communication stuff, I did get comment back from Joe Vandenek and our city attorney. I haven't, again, had a chance to incorporate those comments and improve that, but you guys might want to decide the amount of a surety bond. I did raise that up from 50,000 to 100,000. If you guys want it more than that, we can discuss that. The screening of auto body repair shops, that's actually going to be on page 36, the start course next to those 26, just so you know. That one's a really simple question of should we just be screening everything that happens in an auto body repair shop in industrial zones? That's the simplicity of that question. Two final things. Currently, industrial uses are allowed to have noise producing tools. Whether or not you guys want to exclude that, that's up to you. I made a note about that though, because the way that our current zoning works is anything that does make a noise, and this I think is really dumb, someone didn't think through this, anything that does make a noise in an industrial zone technically wouldn't be allowed. So that one's just to make you guys aware of that change and whether or not you want to keep it there. I think industrial zones are where noise should occur. Just wanted to make that comment. And then finally, page 39 talks about potentially prohibiting ethanol and the poison manufacturers. I wanted to make sure you guys had a chance to make that decision. And then there is a note about whether or not exhaust fumes should meet state and federal requirements. That's as simple as it has to be tonight. Other than that, we're moving forward and we're getting pretty close here. So, if you have any questions, I can move those now. But it's up to you guys and how you guys want to discuss and work through this stuff.
Open the public hearing and then. Discuss it.
They might bring it.
All right, we'll open the public hearing at 7:08 for ordinance 816. Just start at the top, Robert.
The highlighted portion stuff?
Yeah.
Sure, go for it.
The prohibit repairs. The 60% needs. If you're in agreement. If we just leave it the way it was.
With that 60%, if somebody, let's say, across railroad tracks has small house, small lot. And tornado comes through, they get 70% damage, they gotta rebuild. Would they have to, let's say, the side yards are not what our current codes are? Would they be able to build the same footprint that they currently occupy right now? If something like that happened, let's say they're rebuilt new. And their house is X amount by X amount, are they automatically, yes, you can build what you had in that footprint?
I would assume so, right?
No, they were not. Any rebuild at that point, if the structure's completely gone, you'd be required to comply. So you're saying the structure is gone, right? Completely gone?
Or over your percentage?
Well, if it was over a hypothetical percentage that they agree on, So if it was damaged beyond that percentage number, they would not by right be able to do it. Now, the western residential zone has been designed to more accurately represent the development that's going on that side of town. But if for some reason they weren't able to rebuild because there was a damaged provision, like what could be in here, they would still probably qualify for variance in order to build a house on a lot that maybe doesn't currently apply. That makes sense to me.
Was that gonna cause? Just trying to think of things that can really cause them a problem. Let's say insurance wise, an insurance carrier gonna say, I'm not insuring my home. Because, you know, something happens to it, we can't rebuild, and how does that go? Is a bank gonna say, hey, I'm not gonna loan you money for your house, or you can refinance because. Hey, if it gets destroyed, now you can't rebuild it because the lot's not big enough to build. You know, it don't impact me, but I certainly think that we should have something in there that. They should be able to rebuild on the same, you know, same footprint they had.
Right now, there's nothing though, right? Right now, there's not a percentage. You're asking if we should add the 60%.
Correct.
But on that, are they still, you know, if it's 60%, that's fine. But can they, you know, let's say they tear the other 40%, you know, tear it completely down. Is the city gonna allow them to build the same thing they had in the same spot that they had?
I don't know. I know this came up with the planning commission years ago and we had changed it to. They were able to rebuild it as long as it was within the boundary of the lot, so. If they were too close to the alley, but it was in their property, they were able to rebuild in that position. For the lots that are like that are small. But if that. Garage or a shed was over the property line, it couldn't rebuild there, then it was.
Sure.
Would have to change.
I would rather not. You limit that, right? Because what we're asking is, do we want to prohibit the repairs? I don't want to prohibit them, right? You guys want to prohibit the repairs?
No, that's what I'm saying, I think.
So that 60% is gone. So we eliminate the whole 60%, we eliminate prohibiting it. So if their house goes, yes, they can rebuild
Still has to comply with the zone,
with the zoning, correct?
correct? And we.
But that zoning is what they're already zoned to, so
Correct,
they just gotta build back their same footprint. Or if they can go bigger at that point, because, you know, when they built that house, you know. The setbacks were this, well, now the setbacks are this, they can go, possibly go bigger.
that's possible. Right now, it's 15 in that zone over here. It's 15 feet from roads and 6 feet from adjacent property lines. Which is really accommodating.
So I think right now we would not want to prohibit it in there.
Correct. I don't want percentage because that percentage, that's up for interpretation in my opinion.
So we just eliminate that.
Okay, I'm getting nods on all three of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's houses over there that you can't meet setbacks, you can put a house back as it is.
Right.
Or another bank ain't gonna give them money or, you know.
Exactly, and that's why we changed it, I thought, we changed it.
Alright, abandoned conditional use time frame is 1 year right now.
Correct.
I think you probably should have 1 year, because let's say somebody has a conditional use to have a carnival once a year. So then you'd have to revisit it every 6 months. I'd say, you know, you'd have to revisit it probably twice. As opposed to
So
once.
this is if the conditional use is abandoned. So they come here, they propose something to you, not a temporary use like a carnival.
Oh, okay.
And they get that conditional use and then they sit on it. They don't do anything with it for a period of time is what we're talking about.
They haven't started.
That makes sense.
Bingo.
Okay, I get it.
Thank you.
1 year.
One guy.
1 year.
Yeah.
Can't do something about it, you're just gonna have to go over it.
Yeah, you gotta reply.
Which we've dealt with.
Right.
Exemption of projections.
This is that weird stuff about ramps extending 6 feet.
You want
from
to skip
the
the wall?
wall. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that? Thanks for working on that.
Wireless communication towers, $100,000 bond. Is that what, the attorneys recommended?
The attorneys weren't really focused on any specific amount. In fact, I didn't ask them that. I decided to keep that for in-house. It would have been the abandonment that I discussed with them, that I have some lines for. So it's up to us on what we think.
I would,
Either a surety bond would be.
I'd like to ask them. For their opinion on that.
What's it cost to tear one down after stuck with it?
That's what I'm saying. We touch base with her on that, and let us know her opinions on
Okay.
the 30 months.
Sure.
Let's probably have something on it. Yeah.
I thought you'd asked, what was the question you asked them?
I'm asking if the number of $100,000 for the surety bond was enough. They want more or less, a different number.
No, that you didn't ask Maureen that and,
Marine gave me a bunch of examples for abandonment language, not for a specific amount.
Okay.
I can double check the email because that was from 4 weeks ago and a lot has happened since then for me, but I'd need to double check that.
okay.
My opinion. Screening of an auto body repair shop, page 26.
36.
36.
Pardon me, yeah, that's a typo on the report, page 36.
I mean, auto body shops are gonna be inside the industrial commercial anyways, right?
Correct. Light industrial specific.
I don't think, I mean, if they're in that area, they probably don't have to screen, do they? I think so. Okay. Robert has out here screen everything.
Well, that's a point, I mean, why would you mean auto body shops and not auto repair shops,
Just an example, as you see, like, Tracy's Auto Body in the middle of Omaha. They got their back lot screened in some cases, otherwise they got nothing. They always look clean, in my opinion.
No matter what, they're having damage cars, right? That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
We have to, no screening.
Well, it does have underneath there, all vehicles waiting for repair shall be screened from view.
Approach shall be screened.
Well, I mean, maybe that's not something, so you don't see wrecked cars sitting out there, but.
I'd probably want it screened if it was adjacent to residential property.
We have that set up already, right, Robert?
What do you mean?
If it's next to a residential, it's gotta be screened.
Not confident if that is the same case for industrial as for commercial. It should be.
You would think we would have it screened and locked anyway, because otherwise someone's just come down with midnight auto parts and get what they need out of the car.
It's a fair point too.
Yeah, they're responsible for the vehicles.
Yeah. Well, I brought it in here, it has 4 wheels and tires on it, I'm not buying it all.
That might not be the case for industrial, it's for commercial, but it would make sense to have that be the case. So I can make that change if you guys want me to make sure that industrial properties are treated the same. And they're right next to residential properties.
For body shops. Then as far as the screening on everything else, that's a good word.
Yeah.
You know that, Robert, where it says just screen everything, I think we get rid of all the screening requirements.
Okay, so you don't want to screen vehicles waiting for repair or parts? Okay, that's all right, and we're agreed on that?
Well. Noise producing, I mean, you're in the industrial area for a reason, so which page is that on?
38.
55 of 90. Back in.
Is there a way to put a time limit on there?
That's what I was gonna say, instead of noise, put it within a.
You know, even if it's 8 o'clock at night, you know, you have to be done making noise by then.
Yeah, but when that open can't do that. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying if it's a 24-hour industrial plant, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's like, most places start out with 1 shift, but then if they get busy, they're gonna add more shifts, so.
What you get are all sorts of work.
Noise producing has to happen because like if I got a you know, you get a storm or you get a call out, middle of the night, I gotta back a truck out. So, that's why that's why we're in industrial. Trains hell of a.
Especially you.
I think it's just, and you're in industrial for a reason.
Yeah.
Right, like,
Yeah, just take that.
That's heavy industrial anyways, yeah.
all of our industrial doesn't way back up in residential,
No, and mostly set up that it shouldn't have.
ever.
Okay.
Exhaust fumes, yes, that's been right. 39.
Striking that.
Yeah. Good trademark. Thank you. All the options from painting areas, please, but they requirements,
Page 79.
39. Okay.
39, this one is.
I would say they'd have to meet their own state though, you wouldn't want. Chemicals blowing into town.
I think those are still gonna be present regardless of what we have, right? They're gonna take precedent. Would be my interpretation.
Oh, so we just don't have to.
We don't want to do it.
Alright. I'm good with that though.
Prohibit ethanol plant. Poisonous. Manufacture. I think that's a great idea, especially what's happening in. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if it's still a date, but there tends to be quite a stinking or nothing on it.
All right, anybody got any questions on that? All right, we close the public hearing at 7:21. Look for a motion and second to approve the second reading of ordinance 816.
Motion that we approve the second reading of 816.
Second.
Motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 816 zoning code revision was made by Smith and seconded by Sheminti. Sheminti,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Ordinance 817 designating the city council as a zoning board of adjustment. Bob or Robert put this through legislation, got passed. So we don't have to deal with the board of adjustment. Try and keep that board up all the time, we've got troubles. So the city council will act as that. Robert, anything else then?
Not a whole lot, just being aware that basically makes three main decisions. If someone wants to appeal a decision made by someone in my position, it goes to the zoning board of adjustment. If someone wants an interpretation of a map and they don't like my interpretation, they would go to the board of adjustment, aka you. And finally, when someone proposes something that can't comply with the zoning. So if they can't meet setbacks, if they need to go a little higher, really simple stuff, it can't be related to use according to state law, so it's everything but use. If they, for some reason, can't comply with the zoning code, they would go to you guys, and they have to meet strict criteria that are in zoning. And that's basically what this group does. It tries to relieve a little bit of the pressure and have places the authority to vary from the zoning. That's it.
Any questions? All right, we'll open the public hearing at 7:24 for ordinance 817, public comment.
817 is that one of the papers we got here, is that right? Is it all the way to the end or is it
It's on the first packet.
which is? We want to stop the agenda on it or?
Yep, the agenda.
I will note that despite the language that I submitted for consideration with the legislation, the mayor was not included with what passed. So the way that I've written the ordinance is to recognize that unless state law gets changed. So the zoning board of adjustments chair currently would be the city council president. And then it would follow the standard procedures of the city council's as written in municipal code.
I don't know.
So the president then would break a tie vote at that point?
So if there's this is what's weird. The reason that I specifically proposed including the mayor when this went through the state legislature was for that very reason.
Oh, yeah,
It was
couldn't get a tie. if people
Correct.
vote, yeah.
So right now, and this is statewide, if two councilmen agree on one point and two disagree on that point, it's that's it. It's just a tie vote unless one group can convince the other to move one way or the other. So it's essentially a tie under a board of adjustment that's with our city council would be denial of a request.
So with the president of the city council, who is chairing it, would he be able to vote or is he
Correct.
breaking?
That'd be a voting member.
Be a voting member?
Yep, all four would be, all four city council members would be
Put
allowed to
in
vote.
on the tie.
Good, yeah.
And it has to stay that way.
I tried to get it, when I noticed that they didn't include the language that I had, which was intended to have 5 members. I asked if the League of Municipalities would be willing to try and get that changed. They said, we can re-examine it if people have problems. So if you want me to, Matt, we can work on that for the next session in a year, but
I mean, I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
You could legitimately have a tie. And then it dies.
Could you have a single alternate to make a fifth?
no, not with this one.
Not without.
No.
That's better than you have right now, so. Alright, any other comments? Closing public hearing at 7:7. Look for a motion and a second to approve it, and if you would like to waive the 3 readings.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 8-7.
Do we want to wait 3 meetings? Three.
That's I.
Or say-
Wait,
That does.
Yep.
8:15 or 8:17?
8-17, excuse me, what should I say, 8-17?
Yeah, you said it right.
We want to wait on 3 or
I think I wait that.
wait all 3? And waive all 3 readings. Me resend that.
You're good.
Second.
A motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 817 designating city council as the zoning board of adjustments and to waive the 3 readings was made by Lawton and seconded by Sheminti. Smith,
yes.
Lawton,
Yeah.
Sheminti.
Alright, resolution 2025-8. Unit certification of the city street superintendent.
This is pretty much just saying, yes, we had Steve Parr as our street superintendent for the year of 2025.
Thank you, getting certified, Bob. I'll make a motion to approve Bob as the.
Nope, that's do the resolution first, then the appointment.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-8.
Second,
Motion to approve resolution 2025-8 year-end certification of city street superintendent was made by Sheminti and seconded by Smith. Lawton,
Yes.
Sheminti,
Yeah.
Smith.
yes.
Right, now, appointment of Bob Oliver for the,
You have to use my legal name because
Yes.
that's what's on my certificate, which
Oh.
is.
And I think I wrote it on that cheat sheet that I gave you, Robert L. Oliva. Yes, that is what is on his license.
This thing, I'll probably help.
so look for a motion and second to approve Robert as the street superintendent.
I'll make a motion to approve Robert L. Oliva as the 2026 city street superintendent.
Second.
A motion to appoint Robert L. Oliva as city street superintendent for the year of 2026 was made by Sheminti and seconded by Lawton. Sheminti, Lawton,
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry about that, Will. I just jumped around there.
Thanks for doing that, Robert. Bob.
Yeah.
Alright, acceptance of Mary Kay Arp's resignation from the library board.
Was she on there?
Yes, I want to say probably 10 or more years. Maybe it's been a while. But from my understanding, she's in a home now or something.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Mary Kay Arp from the library board.
I'll second that.
A motion to accept the resignation of Mary Kay Art from the library board was made by Sheminti and seconded by Smith. Lawton,
Yes.
Sheminti,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Alright. Presentation from Jake Duggar with McGuire Iron. For the water tower washing and maintenance. You wanna plug in?
I got them both to turn on.
I'll go there, so. You wanna sit here?
There's a.
I can, and I'm good, I'll stay here, let's go. You know.
Oh, look at that. I got both of them to go at the same time too. Now it'll work. I'm just impressed it worked.
So far, so good.
Big goal, this is only gonna take 3 minutes, just so you guys know.
Did I just hear 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, I can go as fast.
2.5.
I can talk as fast as you want. You guys got a little information last month, right? So, we don't have to take up a whole lot of time, just to make sure you guys kind of understand everything. Mind if I sit right here? Just make sure you guys kind of understand everything of the proposal as far as the way that our maintenance plan works, and as you guys consider that, I know we talked about, we did an inspection in 2023 as well on the tower. We last painted it in 2014. You're starting to see the age of the coating, typically every 10 or 15 years is about what you'd expect. We're kind of right in that time frame. So it's due for having the tower repainted. It was kind of brought up, let's try to maybe just pressure wash and clean the outside of the tower, and it will. Once we clean it, it'll look a lot better. Sometimes that mold and mildew will show back up in a year. Sometimes it might last a few years. Hard to tell how long that will last. But when we pressure wash it, it certainly will clean it up and make it look good for a little bit, to buy a little time to maybe make a plan as far as coming up with more of the large lump sum that you have to deal with when you repaint them. You know, it's a couple $100,000 to repaint it inside and out. So one of the things that we offer in our maintenance plan is we can actually spread the cost out. So you don't have to come up with a large lump sum all at once. Now, if you can, that's great. And then it moves on to just an annual amount, and you budget an annual amount. We do annual inspections. The tower is under a warranty with any kind of maintenance on the tower, cleaning, inspections, repairs, welding, painting. So when it comes time to repaint it again in another 10 or 15 years, you're not having to come up with 250 grand. You've been paying an annual amount of, I think it's around $20,000 annually. If that makes sense. So our plan allows you to kind of, have a budget in place that allocates for any maintenance that comes up or any future maintenance. So you don't go, $2,500 for inspections for the state every couple of years, and all of a sudden, boom, $250,000. So it kind of allows you to plan and allocate for that. As well as the upfront costs, we're able to spread it out over 3, 4, 5 years with no interest to try to help take care of the tower And not have to put it off to try to save money. So I'll go through some of these pretty quick. McGuire's been around over 100 years. We do an awful lot of work, you know. Luke can attest to our reputation and our history in the industry. We build tanks. We built 33 tanks last year. We did 201 paint jobs, similar to what we're talking about with your tower. So we do an awful lot of work. And in Nebraska, we do a ton of work in Nebraska and Iowa. So the company's out of Sioux Falls. I actually just live in Elkhorn, so this is the shortest drive ever to a council meeting, which is pretty sweet. It took me about 12 minutes to get here, so that's fantastic. Unfortunately, I have to drive all the way to Des Moines when I'm done here for a conference, but it is nice to be close. So anyways, this is the second line down there. This is a customer that sent me a couple years ago, and it was this council minutes that he found from 1927. Among the bills paid was one to Ed McGuire for painting the tank and tower for $280. So inflation's pretty significant from since back then. But anyways, I like sharing that just because it's pretty cool. From 100 years ago with the same name, doing the same thing, is pretty rare these days. So these are the owners of the company. Their dad worked for Ed McGuire, bought it from him. He's passed away now. His two sons run the company. It's a family company in Sioux Falls. When we do inspections and when we do maintenance and under this maintenance plan, where we evaluate and we're responsible for the sanitary concerns, the safety concerns, security, structural coatings. We deal with the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy, which is the water for the safe drinking water for the state, as well as OSHA and American Water Works are kind of the three governing bodies that we look at. So I came out and did a visual inspection on the tower here this year, and I just wanted to share a few photos from that. Tower was built in 1978. It's 300,000 gallon tower, and it is 68 feet to the bottom of that, and probably another 40 feet to the top of that. One thing recommended is a repair. For the most part, the tower's up to code, up to standards. One thing, when you have a legged ladder like this, and you have a ladder that comes down, you really want to have a ladder gate that goes over the top of that. It's lockable. It prevents unauthorized access, or it certainly deters them. And if someone were to get on there, you know, it would limit your liability as a city as well for someone to get up there and do something you don't want them to do. So just kind of walking around the tower. So this is one of the things you'll see, you know, when that finish coat starts to wear away, the shiny coat, and that protects from the UVs, you rub your hand on it, it starts to chalk like this. And so that's when it starts to fade and chalk on it, slowly wearing away. And so this is where we know we want to pressure wash it, clean it, and put a new finish coat over the top of the exterior to protect that base coat before it gets too thin or brittle and gets in bad shape. So that's what we're trying to prevent. Looking around, that's the roof in on top of the tank. It's in good shape. That's the roof hatch. This is looking on the interior of the tank. So we are starting to have some coating breakdown. You can see there up at about the high water level. Again, it's not uncommon for the age of the tank. It's probably pretty on par for what you would expect. And this was an RO, or no, this is a dive picture from our inspection when we use a diver a few years before to show kind of down below the water level. So the recommendations on the tower, we can still overcoat the tower. We can pressure wash it and overcoat it. It's much more cost effective than blasting all the way down to metal. So probably another 160 grand to blast the outside and start over. You can overcoat it several times until either it's in such poor condition that the surface is not good to paint over, or it gets so thick that now you can't overcoat anymore. It's just too much weight and stress, and then you have to remove it and back down to steel and restart over with coating it. But in your instance, we're able to overcoat it. On the inside, you always remove the coating all the way down to metal. It's called a SP10 standard for near white metal, and you reline it with an epoxy liner. Again, everything's up to AWWA standards. Everything has to go through the state and permit that. Good to know, in this type of a program, we're actually a licensed engineer in the state of Nebraska. So we handle all the permits for this. You don't have to go hire an outside engineer, you know, and pay them extra 20% of the project cost. We handle all the permitting and everything for you through the state. But with the interior coatings, that we use a zinc and epoxy coating system that would go through the state for approval. Ladder gate, and as well as installing a mixing system inside the tank to create more water circulation. We were kind of seeing some signs of stagnant water, which is not uncommon either. And so putting a mixing system in would be very much a help to the water and the water quality. Any questions on the tank or the condition or the recommendations?
What's the standard life of a water tank or?
Yeah, so good question. So a water tower can literally last forever. So there's no moving parts, it's just steel. So as long as you maintain the steel by coating it and protecting it, it'll last forever. It'll always perform its design function. Actually AWWA has it in their manual for operation. So as long as you don't need more storage or more pressure, that's when you would build another tower or take that one down and build a new one. You know, a new development on the other side of town, you add another one. But as far as the age expectancy of a water tower, as long as you maintain it, it can last forever.
We know how many coats are on it now. Is it just-
I did have thickness readings on there. I don't know off the top of my head, but if it was built in, well, we blasted it actually when we painted it last time, I think in 2014. So
There's one.
there's just one. So we would be able to overcoat this for several cycles before the time to blast it would be required. I'd say probably 60 years before we'd have to blast the outside, as long as everything goes as planned. Yeah, right. Exactly. So as you go through, and again, I'll kind of go through here, but I kind of mentioned this. There's a lot of entities involved. There's contractors and subcontractors and engineering and coating manufacturers. We just we handle it all under our umbrella as a company, and so you deal directly with me or with my project manager, and so we don't have to deal with 4 or 5 different entities when you're dealing with a project like this to try to simplify it for you guys and for Luke. This is not your tower, but we'll do annual inspections to make sure vent screens are in good shape. There's no issues with birds or anything getting to the tank, as well as the coatings. So we can be, proactive. If we find issues, we can be proactive with it. Everything the program covers is all the maintenance of the steel of the tank. So underground stuff would not be our responsibility. But anything above the ground, the steel of the tank is our responsibility to clean it, paint it, weld on it, make sure it's in good working order. That would be our responsibility. So we do annual inspections. I told you any engineering costs, we handle the engineering, so that's not required. Cleaning, painting, like I mentioned, to make sure it's in good working order. It's meant to be a long-term type of agreement and relationship, but it's actually a 1-year agreement. It's an evergreen agreement, so every year with you making your payment, it would automatically renew, and then we were responsible to provide any maintenance on the tank that year, whether that's just an inspection and cleaning or a complete repainting. The following year, you either make your annual payment again, or you would send us a cancellation. So the important thing is that you have the option to cancel every year if you wanted to. If we spread this upfront cost, $200,000 over several years, and you cancel before you paid it, you would just owe us the remaining balance of the work that's been completed. So you're not necessarily signing a contract that says we have to pay this annual amount for the next 20 years. You should, once you get into it. Most people don't cancel it, but you have the option to if you got to a tight spot and you had to. If that makes sense. And we can never drop you, obviously, unless you don't pay us. So we usually set up payments annually, but we can do them, however you want. Usually I do them in October to kind of set up with your fiscal year. But we can do whatever you want. We do have to allow for inflation, obviously, when we're taking care of the tank. It's going to cost more in 15 years when we repaint it again, but it's a cap on it. It can't go up or down more than 5% per year. Typically it goes up about 3 or 4% with a standard history of PPI.
3 to 4 per year.
3 or 4% per year, yeah.
Do you ever have any examples of it going down?
No. No, I mean, I've had customers that were really hard on this. Most people will understand that's pretty standard, but they wanted us to equate it and do it with whatever the PPI was. Well, they wanted CPI, but PPI includes gasoline and more. It's more of the industrial side versus bread and milk. And so it'll go up 15%, and then it'll go up 4%, and then it'll go down 3%. So it's just always doing this. And if you look at the history over the last 40 years, it's 5%. Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff.
So the average is 5, or excuse me, the cap.
Maximum is 5.
Yeah, the cap is at 5. And then should that be the expectation year over year is 5?
You could if you wanted to be safe. Yeah, right.
I guess I'm just asking for you and your experience. The last 5 years is probably not a great.
Yeah, with COVID, it went up 5, but before that, it's never gone up 5. It's gone up 3 or 4%.
Thank you.
And I don't think it went up 5% last year. I think it went up 4%. Yeah, with COVID, it was like 12. Yeah, so we were taking a hit on all of that. So, and then these agreements can be kept indefinitely. If we come back and repaint it again in 10 years, you know, you're the same thing. You would continue to make annual payments or you cancel, which is kind of continue on as long as you wanted to be in the agreement. The number one reason, the major benefit to the city, we assume all the risk and liability of the maintenance. So like if you're in this program and we paint it and we expect to get 10 to 15 years out of it, but if we don't and it lasts 6 years and we have issues and we have to completely repaint it, that's all on us. There's no additional cost. You're under a perpetual warranty as long as you're under that plan. And then being able to spread that cost out on the upfront portion, we spread it out with it interest free over, you know, like I said, and told Bob, we're not a bank, but you know, we can do it over 3, 4, 5 years, just to kind of help the budgets and not having large chunks. Then again, ongoing warranty, and then it's more of a fixed annual budget. So, you know, like I said, you don't have these large spikes, and then the next people that are on the council in 15 years have to come up with the money and figure it out. And so this just kind of puts a system in place that guarantees no matter who's on the council or who's working for the city, there's money that's allocated in the budget that's going towards whatever the tower, whatever maintenance needs to be done on the tower, it's gonna be covered, you know, by an experienced professional maintenance firm. So no change orders. Ultimately, it's proactive maintenance that can save money. You're not alone. We take care of, I mean, I bet there's 100 tanks that are under this maintenance plan in Nebraska and more in Iowa and across, but we got 1,000 tanks on our maintenance agreements. Those are a few towns that are kind of nearby here that are under the same exact maintenance plan that where they had to have tower be repainted. And I sat down and kind of did the same deal. There's some more or some of the same. Some towers before and after photos of repainting. One thing I guess I should say, I didn't think about this, but we don't do this very often. I don't know why I do it, but they are offering, it was before the end of the year, but they started doing it last month was the first time, but we'll do a free upgrade to your logo. And so if you want to do, you know, right, you know, similar to, you know, something like this, although they had 2 logos on there, but you know, something like this, changing the letters, putting a city logo on there. It's something that we're offering. Is the logo on one side or 2 sides?
I don't know, I think just one, I just one side.
Okay, so yeah, so we would be able to upgrade that logo. Currently, the money that's in there right now is just to retrace and repaint what's on there. And typically, if you're gonna, you know, upgrade a logo, we have to buy a template and put it on there. But through the end of the year, if you approve something like this for the repainting, then we would have that in there where we'd be able to upgrade it to, you know, whatever. Within reason, obviously, it can't be super extravagant. But so, but you know, for most things, it would be covered. So ultimately, I'm a visual person. This is on the top would be a traditional method. If you just hired us to come do a one-time paint job, which we certainly can do if you decide you'd rather do that, and then continue on with your inspections. You get a 1-year warranty under that, and then you know, you look to the future and you say we'll probably have to repaint it again in 10, 12 years. And the bottom would be under this maintenance plan. Either way, it'd be the same way. The biggest difference is you got an ongoing warranty. You're having annual inspections, essentially for about the same amount of money as if you paid in full. You paid for your inspection and you paid in full again, except we're just doing it more on an annual, lower basis. So this is, I don't know, did they have the spreadsheet that I shared with you or that summary last month? We had a lot. You guys have seen these numbers then, okay. So what was discussed was to try to push out that, again, I don't want to put it off the paint any more than we have to. You know, I think we could plan to have it repainted next year if we could, but the finances are what they are. And if we can pressure wash the outside, it will certainly make it look better and we'll buy you a little time. And what we had kind of proposed was something like this, where we do the pressure wash of the exterior. We would clean out the inside, disinfect it, which is what you do for your clean out inspections. And then we'd actually do the repainting in 2028. And then that's when we would start that cost of the upfront repainting. And then we have that spread over 4 years. And then year, you know, I don't even know how many years out that is, 8. You can see what it goes down to, just to that annual amount there. And so that 21,000 out in 2032, this would be exactly what your cost would be if you guys decide you want to do this maintenance plan for the next, you know, several years through exactly what you're looking at, 2032. In 2033 is when you would get an we send out an annual, I don't know, what am I trying to say? A letter or something, but essentially it says what your next year's rate of service is gonna be, so you'll see it. So you would see if there's an increase, you would see what that would be, and then, so that 21,000 is what is the possible of going up 5% per year after that. But all this is exactly what it would be. It wouldn't be until 2033 where that would be, the adjustment. Correct, right.
The only chance that's gonna go up is that 21,000 could go up 5%.
That's correct, maximum. So I mean, if you're budgeting safely, you would just budget 5% increase. But we send you a letter typically in November or December that says this is what the increase is gonna be for next year, so that way you know exactly what you're budgeting. So that's what, this is kind of how it's set up. So kind of like that last slide, you're paying that annual 21,000 moving forward from 2032. So when we come back out to repaint again in 2038, 2040, you're not gonna have to come back up with this $240,000. It's gonna be still 20, at that time, maybe $25,000.
So the cost of painting the tower, once we're in the program, would be normalized, right? We wouldn't have to-
Through that payment.
Yes.
Through that 21,000 annually,
Yes.
then that means whenever we have to repaint it, that's part of it. You just stay on that same schedule. And so you don't have that large lump sum that comes back up in the future.
And Jake, what if there's a disagreement on that? Like, what if we feel like the tower should be painted, but McGuire's saying no?
Right.
Like, who handles that or who mediates that?
Yeah,
I'm sure
so-
the lawyers get involved. if-
No, it's actually never gotten to that. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys are the customer, so I mean,
Yeah.
at the same time, it doesn't do us any good to make our customers upset.
Yeah.
So I really have never had any issues. I've been doing this for 15 years.
Okay.
I haven't had any issues with that, but, if we had some kind of disagreement, we could put something in there, and I've done it before in the agreement that just says, a third-party coding inspector.
Okay. And I'm not saying we need it. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking,
No, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I've got it before. It's like, well, hey, it should be painted. Also, you're coming and saying it should be painted in 5 years, and actually it's doing great. So the way that it reads is the exterior is based on its protective qualities and its appearance, because appearance is obviously important on the exterior. On the inside, it's based on its thickness and its protective qualities of the coating. I can tell you for certain, when we put it in our system, we put it in our system to paint the outside every 10 years and the inside every 12 years.
Okay.
That's how we set it up. Now we evaluate it through our annual inspections that I review. I'm a NACE certified coating inspector. I review the inspection reports that get sent out to you annually in this. And so that can get adjusted through those inspections if we find issues.
okay.
But we can put something in there to cover that, if that makes you feel better. But I can tell you, it's a partnership, and you guys are the customer is more of a 51% shareholder, because if it's been, if we have major issues early on, it's gonna be pretty obvious. If we get to year 8, 9, 10, and you think it needs to be done and we don't, it honestly doesn't do us a lot of good to try to fight you for we'll just paint it, or we'll pressure wash it and say, what do you think? How does it look? Will this buy us a couple more years, kind of thing?
Jake, in the same vein, the warranty work, I assume McGuire does that as well. You're not farming that off to a third party.
We're not.
Okay.
No.
So
So we do use some subcontractors, and with, whether it's painting or repairs or whatever the case may be. But everything's under McGuire.
last two questions from me, then I'll shut up. Permitting, I assume that's included in the annual maintenance. You guys are taking care of that. And then, talk about installing an internal mixer for that. Would that be included in the cost?
That's included in this contract as well. Yep. So that hooks up to power. We install it, we run the conduit down to the ground. And you would be responsible to find a local license. We're not licensed electricians, so you have a local electrician that would do the final hookup.
Okay.
And then that mixer, it's just a manufacturer mixer that we purchase and install. Typically they come with a 5-year warranty.
Yep.
Honestly, I haven't had any go bad since I've been doing this. It's just a submersible motor that hangs in the tank and circulates the water to keep it moving. So really the only maintenance would be is you might have to replace a submersible motor at some point on it.
Do we know what it cost in 2014 to get the tower painted?
I do not. I can go back through.
I did.
Yeah.
I had it last
I
time.
think it was around 160. But that was,
70.
yeah, it was in that 160, 70, probably 170.
That's good enough. I'm just trying to get like a point of reference of.
Yeah, yeah, and so, as I told you before, the actual renovation cost is about 203,000. But what you have here in your spread, and why that's adds up to more than that, is the maintenance fee portion, that $20,000 doesn't start in the first year when we repaint it, but it does start in year 2029. The second year or the next year after we paint it, that's when you start the first year of that service life, and so you would start that $20,000. So this has, whenever we spread the cost out, it has the cost of the renovation plus whatever that maintenance fee is for that year. So, as I've said before, like, we don't put interest in it, but we only do it a few years. So similar to this, if you decided, hey, we'd rather spread this 5 years, then we would take the 67,077 over those 4 years, and then we'd add 21,372 and we divide by 5.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Say, Jake, if the city enters into a new contract for taking care of the maintenance over, each year and also the engineering and everything, what happens if they had wanted to put, a county antenna on, or they had another cell carrier on? Do they have to go into contract or modify the contract or anything like that to make any type of change to the water tower?
So there's a exclusions paragraph into the agreement. It's basically major catastrophes. You still want to have insurance on the tank. Something happens with your pipes or whatever. But one of the things also it says is, something from other contractors. If you have other contractors go out there and they damage the tank, they would be responsible. Most of the time, if you have antenna people that want to put something on the tower, have them contact me and say, hey, this is our water tower maintenance company. You need to contact them, and then we need to review it and approve what they're gonna put on to make sure they're putting it on right. I've never had to increase maintenance costs because of it. If anything, I can help you negotiate and get more money from when they put it up there and they install it properly. So with the antennas that are on there should be in the contract with them, there almost always is, there's a requirement that they have to remove their equipment for major maintenance. And so it's always like how much notice. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months. I've seen them vary significantly, but they're gonna have to still provide service, but they'll remove their equipment and they'll put it on a temporary pole, or they'll bring out a rig to hook the equipment to, but they're responsible to remove their equipment for our maintenance. And that's actually a good opportunity for me to review how they're gonna install it back up there. And, sometimes they'll take advantage of that and they'll upgrade their equipment. And so that's something that you guys, typically the city has to approve when they do that. And so a lot of times I end up reviewing that and saying, you can't run the cables up the ladder. It's an OSHA violation. You can't, weld onto the tank, because then you're going to burn the coatings on the inside of the tank, and so on and so forth.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Thank you. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Questions or comments? Yeah, so we'll work there however you want to move forward. Like I said, I believe in the maintenance plan. I think it makes a lot of sense. We do it for a lot of customers, but we also have customers that just want to do the one-time projects and then continue on doing their own inspections and kind of figure it out as they go. So happy to do it either way. Thank you. All right, appreciate it. Yeah.
Not bring anybody more today. That's in discussion. I thought it. Yeah, full presentation now. I think it's a great idea. Go with the program set out and right and set as a standard. Something you can budget for.
Agree. I guess, so what are we looking for with this? Because with how this is worded, it's just.
Yeah, you can change the wording on it. I didn't know really what all.
I think it would be a motion to enter an agreement for McGuire and the maintenance and pressure washing of the tower. After that. You can do this for it.
If that's the way you guys want to do it.
Ready to 2032. That presented was. Yeah. Like it's a power wash next year. And it's been in 2 years
If for some reason we came up with,
with the money ahead.
yes, Jake, I assume if we wanted to paint the tower,
No,
sooner.
you can't pay it earlier.
Yeah.
We don't take.
They don't want the money back.
Yes, I would tell you, we would, we pressure wash it and let's say the next year, like, sometimes when you pressure wash older paint, it'll actually blow the paint off. So it's possible we pressure wash that and it actually was worse than what it did before. That doesn't always happen, but sometimes. And so if something were to happen or we want it, or it gets dirty again and you want to move it up a year, we would just move everything.
Yeah, simple, internet, everything's.
100%, yeah. Or if you just want to make a payment early, that second year, even though payment, we can adjust that at any time, yeah, it's no problem. It's the same amount of money either way.
From soon as you get to the end of the budget year, we've got the money sitting there, right? Make a payment for the next year. You gotta ahead of it.
Yeah.
Read that out, that's it.
Anything else from the staff? Lou? Rachel? Brady, can you help me out with the wording here?
I would do like a motion to enter into maintenance agreement and is it just a maintenance agreement with McGuire Iron? Okay.
Then get term.
And power washing? Or just?
Yeah, it's just that.
It's included as a, yeah.
I'll make a motion to hire McGuire Iron to move forward with the water tower maintenance agreement.
Second.
All right, a motion to hire McGuire Iron. Oh my gosh, let me restart that. A motion to enter into a maintenance agreement with McGuire Iron for the water tower was made by Schminty and seconded by Lawton. Smith,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Schminty.
Yes.
Do that tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't guarantee that.
Wait, we never discussed color. Red, right?
Yeah, I would say you guys will have the option now,
We're gonna go
You know,
blue
we can look.
and red
You can look at some different.
with their pretty bird on it.
Oh.
Yeah, we got some pictures we can look at. That would be neat, yeah.
I wonder if Peyton might have something drawn up. Might be able to work with him.
Some large scale.
As long as it's not crazy. If it's crazy, you're still gonna get, you still get up to $5,000 or $10,000 of a free logo. If it goes above that, then it would just be, whatever the above that cost would be. Yeah. So,
Can you send us something? Just about the free logo? An email or something about it?
yeah, it'll be in the agreement.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it'll be in the agreement. It says upgraded logos included in this.
In case you need that, sure.
Yeah. I'm not going anywhere, but that's fair. That's fair. But I'm not, I live close. I've been doing this for 15 years.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, sounds good. I will email you, the agreement to your signature.
Sure.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. And then as soon as I get that back, we can work on the scheduling of the pressure wash. See how that works.
Sounds good.
See you later. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, discussion items, utility rate for sewer and water. Obviously, we got a little bit of cost to pay, but. Bob can probably touch base a little bit more. When we did the SRF loans, we had something wrote up, we were supposed to raise it to pay for the SRF loans. And for some reason that never got done.
You guys all.
Those were
you-
for the upgrade of the water, right?
You guys all saw the email or got the email that I sent out and.
Yeah,
I just kind of wanted to discuss it now and then see if where we wanted to move with it and then bring it like as an action item. To the next meeting, because we'll have to change the ordinance and probably want to do all 3 readings as
As
we
they do 3 weeks.
and let the public in on it, but basically what happened, I think, is with this SRF loan is that Cole started it. And, the whole process and it goes through the state and the state requires you to have this funding in place and they had recommendations on what the loan amounts were gonna be, what the rates needed to be adjusted to cover these loan payments. And then CJ got involved and actually did the project and then I come in at the end and finish the project and I think with so many people handling it, it just slipped through the cracks that the rates were never adjusted as the state needed them to be to cover these loan payments. So what I sent you guys was basically a proposed of what the state recommended and the one loan was basically half the value of what we ended up getting. So that's where the other change came in. And then with this agreement with McGuire and there's really was nothing. There's nothing on the water bill for water tower maintenance. And I think that needs to be included too, so that's what the other part is. I'm open for comments and suggestions between now and next meeting before writing up, what we think these costs need to be, but as of right now, the water and sewer are basically running even, maybe in a little bit of a deficit. We had some years there where I think they were in surplus, but we'll be running in deficit, right at even or deficit if we don't do anything, and that's before doing this agreement.
So as part of that SRF loan from 2016, it's looking like their recommendation was moving from $16 within the city limits to 27.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but
And then outside it goes
Outside.
yeah. So it'd be base rate of 16, infrastructure replacement was 5, the 27 is 21, 27.
I think I can put that, and I think it was on board and look at that, right? And I think we just need to post it, do the 3 readings, get it out there as much as we can.
I prefer a staffed approach if we can.
That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah, not to skip ahead, yeah.
there was a discussion of raising the water rates and the year before I joined the council, and it didn't pass, if you remember that.
Yeah.
That was right during the pandemic.
I think the way it needs to be expressed to the public is, we do not have any bond indebtedness. Like, we're under 100,000 total bond indebtedness. We do not even have bond levy at all in the city right now. Most of the cities our size are carrying at least a couple million up to $10 million of bond indebtedness. We do not have any of that. So we took off year before last, we took off that bond levy. So I mean, that helped out significantly. But to cover these actual payments that are SRF loans, these rates or this would need to be done to do that. And then when this loan's paid off, those things could sunset. They can come off, unless another SRF loan was taken out.
That's what you're saying. Tie the increase to the SRF loan.
And then that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get audited every year on these loans to make sure that we have the money to pay them. And it was just something that I think it just kind of slipped through the cracks. The rate should have been done when we took the loans.
Is that a 20-year?
No.
Let's say is that a 20-year term on SRF?
Yeah, we've already been paying on it for a couple, so it would be
What does
roughly
SRS stand for?
state revolving fund,
Okay. And is that to pay for the meters?
the meters and the lift station upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah, 0%.
One was, I think, one's 0.5%, the other one's 0.
The water one was 0.5%.
Yeah, I mean, it's as cheap as money as you can get.
Does the infrastructure on water bill, does that cover some of that cost? That $5 surcharge or whatever that is?
That the
Or something.
infrastructure goes back into the infrastructure.
Okay.
That's what we use it for.
That's where.
The infrastructure doesn't cover the SR.
No,
That's for that's what we have in there for normal infrastructure up.
So it wouldn't be $21 going to 27, it'd be 27 plus $5, what we're looking at.
Yeah,
That okay.
yeah. And once we propose this and bring it out, to the public, it'll be broken down very clearly what everything's going for.
And I think that option is a great option too.
If
You
we can afford it.
and you look at like what we're charging for water and sewer compared to neighboring communities, which you hate to do because we're our own thing, but we are on the lower side of that.
Bless you.
I mean, it stinks because everybody, people have bills and we do have a fairly low delinquency rate on our bills, and you don't want that to go up. And nobody ever likes to raise anything.
See the garbage is on there too. I've talked about that a couple years ago. We'll get something to look at. Helps your infrastructure too, helps your streets so you don't have. You know, different trash truck every single day.
Yeah, I would, they used to do, excuse me, I don't know if I have.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it when everybody's got a dumpster every day of the week and wind comes up and my neighborhood, you know, I was no more, we had one, that's it. And then whether it was a development or the city, it was. You had one or two choices, they all picked up the same day. So.
I think it's just a benefit.
My biggest concern with that is once they say monopolize our town, is their service gonna lack then? Is that where we'd have to every couple of years, maybe have to shop around and,
Put enough of it.
Well, we used to just allow two, now we allow 3 or 4.
yeah.
Didn't it? I think,
There's multiple.
yeah, it used to be just 2, you know, Dan and Sons and that was a door.
I'm not against it, I just have concerns that,
Competition
you know,
does
then all of a
seem
sudden,
like-
you know, they don't pick up a week all of a sudden, the whole town. and-
I think that's the competition is a big thing, but it's also the service that people have now, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know, Waste Connections has been around forever. Roadrunner, I think, in my opinion, is probably the best.
And they're relatively new.
They're newer,
Yeah.
right? Like they've been around 15 years. But like their service is phenomenal.
It's great.
Like you call them, if you forgot to put it out, you call them, they come back and like 7 days.
And they still pick up on holidays.
7 days a week.
And we switched to wind chime because we have to pay for our roads. We mandated, we said we have to have one, and we did go to Waste, and I looked at Roadrunner when we renewed. We've been with Waste for about 4 years and they're very competitive, and Roadrunner wouldn't even, we promised 1 can per, you know. And we've got a pretty good rate from, and we also though told them that they can't do that where it's snow on the ground and then they wait a week, you know, we've been lucky to get them to stop that. Where they won't show up for a week, I'm like, not our fault, you know, do not. But we've had good luck, cause we had to cut down the trucks in our neighborhood, it's so small.
Yeah.
But we've had good luck with that, cause yeah,
You guys have Waste or Roadrunner?
we did Waste, Roadrunner wouldn't do any competitive pricing, they said the pricing they pay here. Waste gave us a pretty good discount, we said every house, including our neighbor Wayne, if you know him, had to pay that, it was not fun, but yeah, we guaranteed them 1 for every lot, you know, that has a house, you know. And we would only, you know, and it's been, yeah, very competitive, couldn't get Roadrunner even close to their price. So,
That's what I've heard.
but I was, yeah, I heard great things about Roadrunner and I was mad at Waste, but. Once I got them to put in paper, no more, if you miss a day, that's fine, come back the next day, you do not wait. Cause they tried to give us the poundage saying, well, you're paying for, no, I'm paying for the convenience of you picking my cans up, you know, once a week too, so.
I think that's the difference too, is like. Put it back, Waste is corporate America, right? Roadrunner is your small local.
No,
You don't have that, you know,
I've heard a lot of great things about them, so yeah, it's,
we could get them close to be better, but. It's just. Good, keep this something we can talk about more there. Anybody else got any questions about that?
I looked at it and an empty nester, the dog doesn't like to take baths, we don't use a lot of water, but, so I'm the minimum every month, and it looked like it would raise my water bill. About $19.50. A month.
I think Unadilla does a senior discount.
What's that?
Unadilla does a senior discount. Be something to maybe talk about.
I would agree with
Yeah.
We talked about that. I don't think it would be 19. I was thinking the base rate would be more of 15, the 15 neighborhood.
I
yeah,
thought,
someone's.
yeah, I thought that it's maybe put a line item on there, like the $5 surcharge. Because in my opinion, I mean, years ago when they built the Bob Devaney Sports Center, they said, yeah, we're gonna charge cigarette smokers to pay for that, but they never went off. If we're paying off a bill, let's put it on there and then they'll see it disappear. If water rates need to go up because it costs more to produce the water, then we need to charge accordingly. And people that, and I'm an anti-sprinkler guy. I think it's a waste of water. It's our most precious commodity and we waste it. But with that being said, if you want to put a sprinkler, pay so much per gallon. I mean, whatever the minimum, and I think we do charge for that.
Yeah,
I know I'm like, Will, I use the minimum. I don't use a whole lot more than that. But if you use it, pay for it. If you don't.
Alright, so we'll get Bob to get something put together and get out before the next council meeting and then. step program. Just keep your eyes on your emails for the next couple weeks. And get something done before them. Supervisor reports are attached. Brady's not here, but we're not ready. Lori's not here. Did you get contacted about a bench?
I was gonna talk to Bob after the meeting about that. Yeah,
Is it in bad shape? Like, or does it just need painted?
Not really.
It's a steel bench, right? So it just needs painted. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. That can be a winter time snow day. Yeah. Anybody got anything else?
no. You'll be thrown in the middle of things again.
Me?
No, me.
That's it for you. All right, so we got anything, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
You can motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn at 8:15 was made by Smith and seconded by Sheminti. Lawton,
Yeah.
Schminty.
Yeah.
Smith.
Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you. You guys.